Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasa Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 61, Text number 24. Rukminya Tanayam Rajan Kritavarma Sutta Bali Upayeme Vishala Akshim Kanyam Charumatim Kila. Rukmanyastanayam Rajan Kritavarma Sutobali Upayeme Vishalakshim Kanyam Charumatim Kila. Rukminyastanayam Rajan Kritavarma Sutobali Upayeme Vishalakshim Kanyam Charumatim Kila. Rukminyastanayam Rajan Kritavarma Sutobali Upayeme Vishalakshim Kanyam Charumatim Kila. Rukmanyastanayam Rajan Mataji's. Rukminya of Rukmini, Tanayam, the daughter, Rajan, O king, Kritavarma Sutta, the son of Kritavarma, Bali, named Bali, Upayeme, married, Vishala, broad, Akshim, whose eyes, Kanyam, young innocent girl, Charumatim, named Charumati, Kila, indeed. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O king, Bali, the son of Kritavarma, married Rukmini's young daughter, large-eyed Charumati. Purport. Srila Sridhara Swami explains that each of the Lord's queens had one daughter, and that this mention of Charumati's marriage is an indirect reference to the marriages of all the princesses. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamine Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhuya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. O king, Bali, the son of Kritavarma, married Rukmini's young daughter, large-eyed Charumati. And the purport is very short. It just says that there was also one daughter. So we are reading from 10th canto, Krishna's activities. Krishna acted many times like an ordinary person, but same time he also acted that he is not an ordinary person. He would show sometimes supernatural. But here, of course, to have 16,108 wives itself is a supernatural thing. But then there are activities which are also very ordinary. For last several days we have been hearing about Srimad Bhagavatam talks about romance, violence, kidnapping, comedy, adventure, and then happiness. Everything is there. So one sense, someone must be wondering then, why do we need all this entertainment? Why not just absorb ourselves in these activities? And one sense is really very entertaining. Isn't it true? So this question once was asked to Jayadit Maharaj. Maharaj, how is it that people are attracted to the same type of activities, but they go to movies? There are TV serials, something similar activities. So his answer was very profound. He said, a lady who is there with her paramour. Now paramour means, not your husband. You have a husband, but you have a lover. So the last thing that lady will like to hear about is her husband. So similarly, the living entities, when they have forgotten who is their real master, Swami, or there is a feeling within, then to hear about these activities are more enjoyable than to hear about Krishna Katha. Even though it is there, Srimad Bhagavatam is. So the difference, of course, one of the main, most important difference, which unfortunately the masses will never know the significance unless they come in contact. Because this is connected to Krishna, even if it is very ordinary, or even if there is violence. Imagine violence. It is said that if there is a statistic that in US that when a child reaches this age, 10 years, how many violences he has seen on the TV, and it is very natural that the child's psychology, his development is very violent. Because it is very natural. Everyone knows about. But here it is said that even if it is violent, because it is connected to Krishna, it is purifying. So there is no doubt about it, as Udupi Yatra Pejar Mata Swami said, material energy pulls you down, whatever activities you do. Even if the activities are very pious, even if they are something, person is very responsibly fulfilling all his duties, but it only is pulling down. But same time, Krishna's activity, if it is heard through proper source, is lifting up a person's consciousness. Is there anything greater, amazing thing happening in this world than a person's consciousness getting lifted up? Is there any greater miracle, anything happening? So many things are happening in this world. We just see the newspaper and so many things are happening. And if you look that there is something else can also happen, and it is happening. Is a person's consciousness is getting lifted up. And this is one of the most rare thing. But this is the only responsibility a living entity has. If there is any responsibility, he has to ask, what is your responsibility? We talk about so many responsibilities. The only responsibility, if you ask yourself, what is your responsibility? There is only one responsibility. If you you have a human body, then only one responsibility. Have to purify your consciousness. There is no other responsibility. Means all other activities are only connected to this responsibility. So it may sound very mundane that here Krishna, Rukmini, they had 10 sons, but they had one daughter also. So it is said in the purport that means all the queens had one daughter, but in Bhagavatam only one daughter is mentioned, that is Charumati, and she got married to Kritarma. So this is a great responsibility of a grahastha, especially parents. To get his daughter married, it is not a very easy task. It's one of the most difficult tasks to do Kanyadhan. One of my friend, is in his terminally ill. He's a surgeon, but material nature can attack anyone, unexpected. So when I was talking to him, I said, how are you feeling about your, Well, I have no problem, I have accepted it. In life, I know these things happen. I had my good times. He was really talking like a philosopher. I was really amazed that where are you getting this strength from? He is not the one who is following any regulative principles or associating with devotees or what to speak about chanting. So then what do you feel? My only concern is my daughter is still not married. In that state, he is thinking about his daughter is not married. Although once that is done, I have no other desires. Imagine what prominence this takes, this responsibility of getting daughter married. So when Krishna does these activities, he does it in a very, this is one very traditional activity where the parents are deciding who their daughter should get married. But Krishna himself, he had kidnapped also. He said one example where you can kidnap. He kidnapped Rukmini. And there is also Swayamvara. Now one may wonder, but actually this Swayamvara is only for very exceptional ladies who have exceptional qualities. It is not for anyone. Someone may say, Swayamvara, so why not? But this question comes about arranged marriage or love marriage. Love marriage means, I decide mine. Arranged marriage means usually parents decide. But this is very traditional. Of course, it may not be because we have gone far away from this culture that anyone even talks about this. How the hell my parents are going to decide whom I am going to get married? But Vedic culture, it talks about the parents because they see from another angle about the nature of their daughter and the would-be husband and the horoscope. There is a chance that match is more compatible. So the parents take the decision. If left to yourself, it is very natural that the selection is based on something sensual. Mainly through the senses, what is the appearance? Purely external. And the truth is that external doesn't last long, and when it doesn't last long, there is conflict. Because there is no purpose, responsibility for that purpose. So the existence, meaning not known, it creates a disaster. So overall, if you see, even in the name of marriage, especially what things were we hearing about, especially about the dowry and the bride burning and the suicide. Because the purpose of marriage, why do you get married? As I said in the beginning, there is only one responsibility. If that is kept aside, it only creates confusion. And then all these things come up. And not only that, there is so much misconception. Especially there was one saintly person. So he asked this lady, that what are you doing? She was a married lady. So she said that, oh, I am just an housewife. Now he asked that, what do you mean you are just an housewife? You mean to be an housewife is something less important? So he was saying that to just taking care of children is such an important activity because that determines the future generation. Imagine the significance of that activity. How a woman takes care. Of course, ladies who are educated, they have their creativity, they have their passion to work. There is no one stopping. But that doesn't mean that those who are taking care of children, that activity is less important. It is not less important. Of course, everyone comes through a mother's womb. Whoever he is, he has to come through a mother's womb. Even brahmacharis have to come through mother's womb. So the mother is the one who is, during those early days, giving all the nourishment. The child just grows in that shelter. So, such an important activity that, but now it appears, so this lady felt, oh, I am just an housewife. I am just an housewife means. So all this again, this, you must have heard about in the government has passed a rule. They have been very strict about it that anywhere there is any sex determination, that whole radiologist will be arrested, the machine will be sealed. Why? Because it's happening. I don't know why, just because maybe in some community they say, oh, if a girl is born means she is a liability, or if a boy is born. So there is massive scale through sex determination, abortion going on if it's a female sex. At the same time we hear that how, so the whole purpose is how we have gone far away from real, true knowledge. And this is what Prabhupada gave his life. Isn't it? In one sense, if you see Prabhupada's whole life is meant to just educate people about what is Vedic knowledge. So here once we see that one sense, yes, Grahastha ashram, this is a responsibility. Now this word responsibility is something, how do we say, what do you mean by responsibility? We can see from Prabhupada had that whole previous acharyas thing on him. To behalf of them, so he was thinking like this, I have to do this. It's my responsibility. So in those early days, there is one very nice thing in our ISKCON society. It's there in the books, I'm sure you may have read it. How responsible Prabhupada was, and that responsibility also attracted to his disciples, and how they would reciprocate in a very responsible way. So in 1969, Prabhupada was writing Srimad Bhagavatam, but then he realized that, I don't think Krishna will be kind enough that I can live so long, that I will be alive till I can translate 10th canto. He was not very sure about it. So there was an urgency that Krishna's activities, 5,000 years back when Krishna came, his activities, the world should know. So he decided that I will write Krishna book. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So with that intention, with that responsibility, people should know, especially to his disciples also, that if I write, they will read. So he prepared this. Now there was no money to publish it. So those days, Shyam Sundar, his very senior disciple, he had already developed some friendly relationship with the world famous Beatles, George Harrison. So Prabhupada said, Shyam Sundar, Prabhupada said, why didn't you ask him to pay for this, printing this book? So Shyam Sundar felt, my relationship with him is not to ask money. Because all over, famous people who are wealthy people ask money. if I also ask money, that means it is the same thing, I don't want to spoil my relationship. But same time he was hearing, but this is my Guru Maharaj's instruction. He has said that, how can I deny that? So he was thinking, my God, it's a little risky thing. Should I do it or shouldn't I do it? But anyway, when Prabhupada also said, you tell him this is my very special request. So it so happened that one day Shyam Sundar Prabhu was in some very famous sculptor, UK. He had invited George Harrison for his dinner, and Shyam Sundar also happened to be there, and the whole family was sitting at the dining table, and they are having, and Shyam Sundar Prabhu is just waiting that when he would have bring this up, and ask George Harrison that, and the amount was around $19,000. Imagine 1970, $19,000. Today, how much it must be? It's a big amount, $19,000. So Shyam Sundar Prabhu, very nervous, waiting. And then when they are having this dinner, other family members, there is lightning, thundering, the rain is pounding on the roof. So Shyam Sundar Prabhu is thinking, I think this is a reminder. Krishna is reminding me that ask. Started thinking, if Prabhupada has a desire, it must be Krishna's. Krishna wants it. So he had that faith. So he uttered those words. And suddenly when he uttered those words, there was such a big lightning that all the lights went off. And there was darkness for a few minutes. So then when the lights came up, Shyam Sundar Prabhu was very nervous. How is he going to respond now? And as soon as the light came, George Harrison's response was, why not? How can I say no to this? So he sanctioned this money. He said, I will give this money. So this was that $19,000 given, and he also agreed to write the introduction. This is our 10th canto. Krishna book first came before even other cantos were translated. This is in 1970. So this is how important is Krishna's activity. Now with this money, of course, we had those days ISKCON Press, which was in Boston, but there was not much facility. They had just printed Ishopanishad book. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya was printed by Dai Nippon, Japanese company, because they had the facility we didn't have. So Brahmananda, his disciple, he was there in ISKCON Press, and he was told that the money is available, now you go. So they corresponded with the office, George Harrison, and they got instruction, go and collect the money from New York office. So those days the finance person was Rishi Kumar. Now he was a very young person but very intelligent about handling money. So we went to the New York office, and the person was the manager, lawyer, whoever. He said, yes, we are giving you $1,900. So they were shocked. $19,000 and $1,900. He said, no, I have been instructed only to give $1,900. So Brahmananda Prabhu started thinking that maybe there is some, better accept $1,900, and the rest of the money we will later ask in balance. Now Rishi Kumar was so intelligent. He said, no, don't accept a single dollar. Let them first sort it out. So Brahmananda felt maybe this is right, and he didn't accept that $1,900. Now see some things how we deal. $1,900 I had, okay, you take and later ask. If you had accepted $1,900, I doubt whether the rest of the money would have come. So then 2 and 4, Prabhupada's letter was there, they showed, and finally, so this person was in between, Prabhupada said he was trying to cheat. You wonder, why should this Hare Krishna people be given for some book, So this $19,000 got, and Brahmananda Prabhu had to carry this money and go where he has to go? To Japan. So all the way with this $19,000, he went to Japan. And Japan, that time, there was one center. This was a very ordinary house. And that was ISKCON center. He got and stayed there. And they had already connected to Dai Nippon that we are coming and we want to print this books. So Dai Nippon will send their car to Brahmananda, they'll pick up and and he will go to the office, he'll spend the whole day there. They had a massive, type of facility. All the people were staying there. This is in Japan. So he will show the layout, all the other things needed for printing. The quality of paper was selected. And this was in May last week, 1970. May last week and July was Rath Yatra. So Brahmananda felt that this book, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, should be ready by second week of July. So he told them that I want this book second week of July because I am carrying all these books back to US and we have a festival there where I want to offer it to Prabhupada. So they said impossible. Just 6 weeks, not even 6 weeks, 6 weeks, in 6 weeks. He said, no, you have to do it. So all the people, they gathered, and now these people are not devotees. Now Chaitanya Charitamrita, it was, how they managed to do in 2 months. But here it is the Japanese, how they got inspired. And they started working very hard. And then the day came for Brahmananda Prabhu to leave. It was already first week of July and he had to fly. They said, not possible. The book is not ready, you cannot. So Brahmananda was very disappointed. I tried, He put his heart. Every day he would go. He was spending so much time that they will prepare. So he prepared to leave the country, Japan, and he was about to board the flight. So when he was about to board the flight, the stewardess said, wait, there is someone calling you. And when he turned back, he saw 4 limousine cars, one after another, coming right to the tarmac, like, where you board the flight. So all these people came, all those executives came, and they handed this carton, 25 first books of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, given to Brahmananda. Imagine what must be Brahmananda Prabhu's joy, this is the book, first time Prabhupada has written. So he carried that book into the flight and he opened it right up when the plane was maybe 35,000 feet above sea level. He opened the book, he opened this book, and this guy was sitting next to him. So he was wondering, what is happening? What is this person feeling so much? So he asked him, what is happening? so this guy said, this is my spiritual master's book. So he was confused. He was sitting, he's just an ordinary person sitting next to him. So can I have? Yes, $20. So the first book was distributed 35,000 feet above sea level, that is Krishna book. And he accepted that book, $20. Brahmananda came back just 1 day, 2 days before, he went to Prabhupada. Only thing he was feeling very sad, the carton was already opened. So he didn't know how to go and offer. But he still went, offered, Prabhupada opened the book, he was very happy. He asked, how many copies are there? Prabhupada, there were 25 copies, but now there are only 24 copies. I sold one book in the flight, $20. Prabhupada said, oh, that's very nice. But now you see that you distribute all these books. So one copy Prabhupada had in his hand. Now it's natural that at least you will keep that book in your hand, right? Because you would like to read. So he said, all these books should be distributed, including this one. So he even gave his own book, which he had just seen, printed. He gave this book. And this way the books were all distributed. This was Prabhupada's responsibility. He wanted, he was feeling, this has to be done. And this is how they reciprocated, Shyam Sundar, Brahmanand. So one sense, we say Krishna consciousness means, taking responsibilities. But then there are so many distractions, so we cannot be very focused. Many times devotees, I'm sure many of brahmacharis, they have been accused. I'm sure The relatives must be accusing that you are the most irresponsible person. You should be taking care of your parents. You should be there. Even for grahasthas, you're a lazy bum, you're not doing, you should be very passionate, working hard. So this is the difference. This is the difference, that too much material consciousness, as Bhagavatam says, that what is the day for a person who is spiritually inclined is a night for a person who is in ignorance. What does that mean? Someone who keeps his time priority for purification of his consciousness, for a person who is materially, for him, all other activities are enlivening. So it is very natural that they will say that you are the most irresponsible person. You should be doing this, you should be doing that. But for our understanding, there is no greater responsibility. Is there any greater responsibility than just trying to purify our consciousness, raising our consciousness? So I heard once, it seems, same thing, one of the father of one brahmachari, he said that, look at Lord Ramachandra. See, how obedient son. And you are worshipping Ram, but you are not following what he is saying. You should be very obedient to me. Of course, it is not that we are not obedient, but there is a discrimination whom to be obedient. When Dashrath, from Ramayana, what type of a father Dashrath was? It is not that he was an ordinary father. See his responsibility. As a king, when Vishwamitra came, he said, you sit on the throne, you are the real, and he washed his feet. This is Dashrath. And he is saying, you tell us. Tell me what you want me to do. You tell me and I will do it. And of course, Vishwamitra said, I want your son. Now, Dashrath was so much attached to his son. He's not an ordinary son. It's very advanced. He was willing to give up anything but not his son. Vishwamitra said, no, I want your son. But I will give you my army, I'll come myself, I'll put all the wealth, everything. But why you want my son? You want to fight those Rakshasas? I will take my whole army. So Vishwamitra said that you have given your word, that you'll do anything. And then he realized, so Dashrath was one who was willing to give up everything which was very dear to him, just to honor his word. So that type of father, why would not anyone be obedient? It's not like any father. So this type of responsibility, what is mentioned about, one simple thing about, yes, getting your daughter married is a great responsibility. But then brahmacharis don't have to do that, obviously. But how many of them can live like a brahmachari's life? As Bhakti Vinod Thakur says that, first thing for a grahastha is his sadhana. Second thing is his livelihood. Now second thing comes livelihood. Just imagine. That means you should have a very honest way of earning. It is second. And third comes taking care of your family. And fourth comes preaching. That means if someone jumps from sadhana to preaching and his family is miserable, then it's a very big disservice. But in brahmacharya ashram, you don't have the second and third. But then, what is the degree of surrender? Traditionally it is said that till the Guru says, you can eat, you cannot eat. You have to starve. But same time, just imagine, what is the degree of purification? What degree of purification a person can achieve? It is very natural that in that state, because completely your mind senses are only thinking about how can I serve. There is no other responsibilities. Only responsibility is just purify. So in that state, it is very natural that the soul's real natural energy can arise and the relationship with Krishna can really be felt. So Prabhupada very much give one life. You are given so many lives, give one life. So this is significance of Brahmacharya ashram in relationship to Grahastha ashram. Obviously Grahastha is what we can make progress unless there are some high standards being laid down. The degree of renunciation you see, you get inspired. It's very natural. Do you inspire? They see that, oh, they can do it. But again it is said about Grahastha ashram that a person cannot be very prematurely acting where too much of, spending time in his Krishna conscious activities and causing pain to his dependents and they are miserable. Or getting too much involved that there is no time at all to come to the temple or here. No, I don't have time because this is more important, I have to take care. So there is a balance in Grahastha ashram where both these activities have to be balanced. Both are very important. So one of them is getting their daughter married, as here Krishna is showing by his example. By handing over, he did his son's marriage anyway, but what about daughter's marriage? So here it is mentioned only about one daughter, Charumati. So when she got married, so in the purport it is very short. Each of the Lord Queens had one daughter, and that this mention of Charumati's marriage is an indirect reference to the marriages of all these princes. That is not mentioned. So this is in our parampara, Prabhupada was very much concerned about that. People take responsibility. That is why he introduced vows. Now there are so many gurus, even when Prabhupada was there was nothing like taking vows. He would accept them as disciple and then he'll say, okay, you do this, and you do this, you are my disciple. But Prabhupada wanted to take vows. So you take a vow. I will chant 16 rounds. I'll follow 4 regularity principles. By this type of activity, he wanted to make them understand that this is not something very ordinary responsibility. It's a very serious responsibility, very serious. Prabhupada would also give example about how this living entity, is just like a boat in the middle of the ocean. Now in the middle of the ocean, a boat is, how much it is dependent on the mercy of the ocean. The ocean can do anything. One big wave and So one sense if you see it, material existence, as Sunday Chaitanya Charan Prabhu was saying, things around is so miserable but it may appear. But the truth is a living entity is faced by so many problems. The waves can go up and it can pull you down. And in that state you are only dependent on the mercy of the waves, what type of the one little wave and it can make you sink. So imagine how much to be dependent where all over you can see is only ocean. Darkness, nothing. And you're completely dependent. Anytime anything can happen. So depending on the ocean's mercy. So with this feeling, Prabhupada will be comparing that this living entity also is in this existence very vulnerable. Anytime, anything can pull us down unless a person has taken that type of responsibility, this understanding, and he purifies his consciousness or lifts up his consciousness. There is one, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj is one quote, no place is safe here. Even when you are offering your obeisances, that is also not a safe place. That means the safest place in this world is just transcend. This the quote says that. Even when you are offering obeisances, that is also not a safe place. So only safe place is to transcend our consciousness, and this is what Prabhupada wanted. Krishna book, even before it's translated, he wanted to let the world. Now, many times we discuss about what Krishna book should be read only after you go through all the 9 cantos. But Prabhupada brought it because he wanted Krishna activities should be known. How did Krishna perform his activities? Because it is purifying. People will know when they hear about it. So there was this thing which happened in 1970, how Brahmananda, Shyama Sundar were involved, and the first book was up. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki, Bhagavat Puran ki. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Yes, Nandulal Prabhu.